Shrek 5 is set to be released in 2027, and its new trailer shows that the franchise is coming back stronger than ever. But did you notice all the incredible things hidden in this trailer? The Shrek franchise has always loved making fun of fairy tales and especially Disney movies. Luckily for us, that isn't changing because we can already see that same disrespect making a comeback in this trailer. And it all starts when Shrek and his family arrive in the city of Further Away. At that moment, the characters spot a snowman standing in an alley, smoking a pipe while digging through a trash can, which suggests that he's homeless. This snowman looks a lot like Olaf from Frozen, and that's far from being just a coincidence. It's simply DreamWorks making fun of Disney once again. However, not everything in this trailer is just a joke. We also got to see the grown-up versions of two of Shrek and Fiona's other children, Fergus and Farkle. In the teaser released in 2025, we only got the chance to see the grown-up version of Felicia, who will be voiced by Zendaya, but we hadn't even caught a glimpse of her brothers. Meanwhile, Farkle will be voiced by Skylar Gisondo, who plays Jimmy Olsen in 2025 Superman, and Marcello Hernandez, a comedian best known for appearing on Saturday Night Live. It looks like he'll be joining Shrek, Fiona, and Donkey on their adventure. Speaking of that, how about joining us on this adventure as we uncover the 19 details and Easter eggs you missed in the new Shrek 5 trailer? Are you ready? Because another amazing Cinewave is starting now. The trailer begins with a fairy tale book opening up, but the story is about Shrek and Donkey, who are immediately insulted by the book's narrator without much ceremony. But something cool to notice here is that the drawings in the book look very similar to the illustrations from the original Shrek book that came before the movies. Yep, not many people know this, but the Shrek franchise was based on a 1990 book in which the ogre is drawn in a way that looks very similar to what we see in the illustrations from this trailer. The funny thing is that the movie story is very different from the books, and the two versions of Shrek grew further and further apart as DreamWorks released more films. So it's nice to see that the franchise still remembers its roots. The Shrek movies take place in the kingdom of Far Away, but Shrek 5 is taking things to another level because the characters will be venturing into the city of Further Away, which seems like it will play a major role in the story. From what we can tell, this place will be a huge and gloomy city, very different from any location Shrek has visited in previous films. The feeling of Shrek visiting the city for the first time seems similar to someone from a small town visiting a major city like New York for the first time. The difference is that Further Away appears to be much darker and gloomier than any other city. And that's where we find another DreamWorks jab at Disney, because Further Away isn't just referencing big cities, it's also referencing Disneyland, Disney's famous theme park filled with attractions based on its biggest franchises and people dressed up as beloved characters. We're talking about a fairy tale world where everything is already absurd, so just imagine what a city filled with characters who should only exist in Disney movies would be like. In fact, the fact that this place is so dark shows that DreamWorks truly has absolutely no respect for Disney. One thing that surprised a lot of people is that this trailer confirmed the movie will keep the more cartoony animation style introduced in the 2025 teaser. This change caused a lot of controversy at the time because the previous Shrek films had a very different animation style. Those movies leaned into a strange kind of realism combined with graphics that weren't exactly top quality even for their time, since it fit perfectly with the franchise's humorous parody style. Meanwhile, Shrek 5 will be much more similar to other modern animated movies, with characters that are cartoony and highly expressive. There's no denying that the animation quality looks much better, but some fans didn't like it because they felt the old visual style was funnier. Since the movie was delayed by a year, many people thought the animation style would be changed to something closer to the original because of the criticism DreamWorks received. But now we know that isn't really the case. Honestly, we think both styles have their pros and cons. Do you prefer Shrek movies being more cartoony and beautiful, or more realistic and ugly? Don't think the Disney references are over yet, because now we're going to talk about a scene where Felicia, Shrek's daughter, appears. In this moment, she's seen flying on a magical broomstick and soaring over the water, where several mermaids leap out of the sea. We probably don't even need to say that this looks like it came straight out of a Little Mermaid movie, right? So what are you expecting from Shrek 5? Leave a comment below with the hashtag Shrek and share your opinion so we can hear what you think. By the way, it's worth paying a little more attention to the fact that Felicia is flying on a magical broomstick, just like a witch. Rumors about the movie's story have had already suggested that Felicia will have magical powers and will essentially be a witch. And that actually makes a lot of sense, since witches are often portrayed as green-skinned women in many movies and books, just like ogres, which can't be a simple coincidence. It's possible that Felicia's magic will play a very important role in the story of Shrek 5. Another thing to notice about Felicia is that at no point in the trailer is she seen with her family. She only appears flying around on her broomstick through different parts of Further Away. Meanwhile, it seems that Shrek will only be accompanied by Fiona, Donkey, Fergus, and Farkle. This could be a sign that Felicia will be separated from them for most of the movie. In fact, she might be the reason this adventure starts in the first place. Maybe Shrek and his friends are traveling to Further Away specifically to search for Felicia. Zendaya's character may have run away from home and traveled to the city on her own, which would explain her family's concern. Maybe Felicia wants to embrace her magical side, and Shrek doesn't support it, leading her to run away to Further Away because she believes she'll be able to follow her dream there. In another scene where Felicia appears, we see her flying past a clock tower, except this clock has a face. This is a reference to an older Disney classic, Beauty and the Beast, because of Cogsworth, a living clock with a face that looks very similar to the one seen in the trailer. Did you pay attention to the song that played at the end of the trailer? Anyone who watched the older movies and remembers them well may have noticed that it's not just any random song, but All Star by Smash Mouth. The reason this song is so special when connected to Shrek is because it played in the very first movie. The funny thing is that All Star was already very popular before that, but its appearance in Shrek made it even more popular and permanently tied it to the franchise's legacy. Including it in the soundtrack of the new movie is a sign that the franchise still respects its roots. The 2025 teaser had already shown that Donkey would be returning, and that made every fan of the franchise happy, but there were many other characters we were wondering about as well. Fortunately, the new trailer answered one of those questions. Gingy. He appears in a very bizarre scene where he's shaking his hips with 2 gummy candies stuck to his backside to make it look like he has a big butt. Well, at least now we know that Gingy is coming back and that the franchise's sense of humor is still as weird as ever. There are also other characters who don't actually appear in person in the trailer, but can be seen in pictures. A perfect example is Donkey's wife, who is a dragon, and please, don't ask us how that works. She can be seen in a framed photograph hanging on a wall, making it very clear that Donkey still loves the love of his life, even after all these years. That same picture also shows the children Donkey had with his dragon wife. Their kids are donkeys with dragon wings, confirming that they really are the biological children of both of them. And once again, please don't ask us how that works, we're begging you. Could these little dronkies appear all grown up in this movie? That would be absolutely awesome. Subscribing is like getting a VIP ticket to watch all our animations firsthand. How about it? And if anyone still has any doubts that Donkey loves his wife, there's also a huge portrait of the dragon striking a flirtatious pose on that wall. There are real-life couples who should love each other the same way Donkey and Dragon do. Still talking about Donkey, there's a funny little scene where he runs into a train and gets stuck in the doorway because of his butt, making the earlier scene where he said he needed to work out make even more sense. It's likely that this train is what will take Shrek and his crew to the city of Further Away. It's always amazing to see how the world of Shrek is different from ours, while at the same time being very similar, mainly because it's such a huge parody of fairy tales. For example, here we have police officers and emergency vehicles with sirens flashing red and blue. The difference is that these vehicles aren't cars, but carriages, while the sirens light up because each one contains 2 magical creatures, one blue and one red, playing around inside. Another very clever joke we see in this trailer is the one where Donkey is transformed into a sheep and says, "This is bad," but the way he says it makes him let out the famous sheep bleat. Besides jokes and story details, the trailer also introduced a major mystery by showing a giant monstrous foot appearing in Shrek's path, because at no point are we shown who that foot belongs to. Could it belong to a giant, like in the story of Jack and the Beanstalk? After all, the first Puss in Boots movie explored that fairy tale, and well, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, hinted that the most incredible feline in the franchise will return in Shrek 5, even though he still hasn't been officially confirmed and hasn't appeared in any trailer yet, perhaps because DreamWorks wants to keep it a secret and surprise us later on. We'll say goodbye for now, but you can keep going with us by clicking one of the 2 videos on the screen. Thanks!